Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Center, I'd like to welcome you all to Poetry in Non-English. My name is Jimmy Vega, and I'm the Assistant Director of Beyond Baroque. I'd like to start by acknowledging Beyond Baroque's presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tonga peoples. We acknowledge the wrong done to these peoples through settler colonialism, genocidal practices, and the violent disposition of their land. As an arts organization, we are committed to uplifting Indigenous communities, their stories, and cultures. For those who don't know, Beyond Baroque is Los Angeles' oldest literary arts center, located here in Venice, California, founded in 1968, first as an experimental literary magazine, before reimagining itself and becoming the literary institution we know it as today. We're based out of the original Venice City Hall and support writers and help cultivate new writing through our extensive program of writing workshops, readings, and performances. Not only do we have our black box theater, but we have a gallery space, a bookstore, and our gardens, making Beyond Baroque not only a space, but a community which bridges many art forms and many people across Los Angeles and beyond. This afternoon's program is in part a poetic response to decentralizing English as the only language that matters, but also a call to action in support of Comunidades Indígenas en Liderazgo, also known as Cielo. Cielo is an Indigenous women-led intergenerational organization that is combating racism towards Indigenous people by bringing visibility and resources to the Indigenous migrant communities. This program is not only important for the greater Los Angeles literary arts communities across our city, but a fundamentally vital part of the work that is still needed and still ongoing today. Before I turn it over to our host and curator for this afternoon's program, I'd like to give a brief thank you to all of our staff working today to make this possible. Thank you to Quentin Ring, Yvonne Salinas, Dan McNay, Eric Alberg in the booth, and Genesis Perez running things in the bookstore. And a huge thank you to all of our poets reading today, sharing space with us, and a tremendous thank you to Luivette for all your inspiration, determination, and activism. Thank you for all that you do. Yes, please give it up for Luivette, yeah. And now, without further ado, I hope you don't mind that I don't have a proper bio, but please make some noise for mother, teacher, poet, and Wonder Woman fanatic, Puerto-Rican born, Bronx raised, and now LA-based author of Living on Islands Not Found on Maps, Luivette Resto.
I'm a little emotional. I know this wasn't in the script. Sorry, Mona. Yeah, it's a big deal to be here. Sorry. Thank you, Jimmy and Beyond Baroque, for helping me make this event happen. On February 5th, during Bad Bunny's opening performance at the Grammys, the captions "Singing in Non-English" sprang on the TV screens of the West Coast broadcast. Later, when he accepted his award for Best Música Urbana album, the captions read, "Speaking in Non-English." The outrage was quick and understandable. For too long, the colonized English language has been centered as the only language, the proper language, the accepted language. It has been forced upon students in the classroom and citizens with punitive consequences if not obliged. Today's reading is an act of resistance to those captions as we celebrate all languages and continue to draw attention to language justice issues. Before we start, I want to thank the poets who said yes to my request, the ASL interpreters, Mona Jean Cedar and Joscelyne Cruz, the co-sponsors of this event, the Pomona Fairplex for the wine, and Humanity Communications Collective. Lastly, I want to acknowledge Odilia Romero, co-founder and executive director of Cielo. Odilia will share some words about the organization at the end of the reading. And now, let us get to the poetry. Our first poet is actually our interpreter, Mona Jean Cedar.
Stand right here because if I stand over there, the podium is going to block my signs. So I'm just going to do a short little, what am I doing? So I was actually fortunate, blessed to be interpreting for the first 2020, January 20, Women's March. So, being a poet, I had to write a poem about it. So this, and when I write my poetry, I try very hard to make the English language and the ASL match. They are different languages. ASL is not signed English. It has its own grammar, syntax, blah, 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 everything. So very different, very different. Yeah, I try to make a match. I didn't just write the English and then later try to, oh yeah, that ASL, we can, So this is called We Women Marched. We women marched. We have fought this war before, and we will fight and win again. We who do not believe in us versus them, in might makes right, and the most toys win. We believe that together is better, and love conquers all greedy evil. We believe in all people are equal. Man, woman, child, wild animals, equal. All have the right to life. We women marched as mothers to teach our daughters of their hidden powers, their secret armies with them always. We women marched with men who know 'tis their duty to defend the dignity of all women, for she who birthed them to life. We women marched, maybe more like meandered, mingled, friendly feelings flowing freely, relieved not to deceive with false facades, joyous to sign, immersed in this shining sea. We women marched to show the few our millions, not to instill fear, awe. No, we are here. We're not going anywhere. We women marched, have fought this war before, fight and win again, never again acquiescent, silent, subservient. We are quiet. Yes.
Thank you, Mona Jean. Woohoo! All right, thank you for getting us started. Also, really quickly, I want to say thank you to all of you who are in the audience listening. Thank you so much for being here. Our second poet is Nikki Dela Rosa.
Thank you all so much for being here. What a beautiful crowd. I'm very grateful to share my poems that are multilingual, two from my native tongue, Tagalog and Ilonggo. And as Luivette have mentioned earlier, the two are forced due to forced assimilation, and that would be Spanish and English, which we will see in this first poem that I will be reading. When colonizers leave, their language stays. From ABS-CBN News, posted on February 2023. Maynila. Ilang buwan nang hindi maganda ang gising ng mga residente ng Barangay 181. Residente. Sa Pasay City. Malapit na matuyuan ng pasensya ang mga ito dahil sa 3 buwan ng water interruption. Pasensya. Water interruption. Taliwas daw kasi ito sa inanunsyo ng Maynilad na hanggang Enero lamang. Anunsyo. Enero. Nagkakaroon ng pagkaalantala ng supply ng tubig dito sa kanilang lugar. Supply. Lugar. Magpahanggang ngayon kasi, wala nang patak ng tubig ng alas 2 ng hapon hanggang alas 11 ng gabi o alas 12. Alas 2, alas 11, alas 12 ng madaling araw. Wala na din naman umanong abiso ngayon ang water concessionaire. Aviso. Water concessionaire. Nang pagkakaantala ng supply ng tubig, ang diskarte ngayon ng ilang residente, supply, diskarte, residente, ay may impok na ng tubig magdamag simula alas 12 ng madaling araw hanggang mag-umaga na. Lubhang apektado. Alas 12, apektado na din ang mga negosyo dito. Negosyo. Ang nangyayari kasi, madaling araw na sila bukas dahil doon may supply ng tubig at nakakapag-ipon. Sarado naman sila sa tanghali. Sinabi ng isang residente, serado, residente, na hindi din nagpapadala ang Maynilad ng tangke na nagrarasyon ng tubig kaya kailangan nila tangke, rasyon, magtiyaga na mag-ipon tuwing madaling araw para may magamit sa maghapon. Para maging ang katabing barangay 182 ay pareho umano ang nararansang water interruption. Pareho. Water interruption. This next poem that I'll be reading is inspired by my work in the Philippines with the local fisher folks that were fighting for their rights against big corporations of industrial fishing due to the blue economy that the Philippine government is fighting, which is causing the local fisher folks to lose their livelihood. This poem is also kind of like what we call in the Philippines pabula, which is a fable that there is like some sort of hidden message. Isda. Maliit na isda sa ilalim ng bangka, ang lapad-lapad ng iyong muka. Nasaan ang iyong tuwa? Ikaw ba ay nawawala? Hindi naman po mangingisda. Problema ko ay iyong mga kapwa. Sigurado, alam mo na sobrang-sobra ang huli nyo. Inubos nyo ang pamilya ko. Dahil ba sa kagipitan ng kapitalismo? Na gumagamit kayo ng dinamita at sinira nyo ang bahay ko para lang mapuno ang pitaka nyo? Ito po, Manong. Sa kaibigan ko, inyong itanong kung bakit kayo mga tao ang salot. Kaibigan ko ay isang pagong. Hindi siya nagsasalita ng Tagalog, pero ang kanyang mga kuhit ang sagot. Wasak ang bahay. Mga mata ay pagod sa palaging langoy para maiwasan ang pukot. Sapat na po ba ang kanyang lungkot para kami ay inyong irespeto? Ito naman po ang dugong ng bakawan. Pambihira na siyang makita sa inyong panahon. Sirenang kaganda noon, wala na ngayon. Sana ang dugong ay inyong leksyon. Ang inyong lambat at basura ang kanilang enemigo. Pag wala na ang dugong, ang susunod ay kayo. I cannot bring to translate these fishy rhymes. From my native tongue to your foreign eyes, I propose you befriend a Tagalog comrade and have them give this one a try. This next poem is highly influenced by my experience as a person of color, not just here in the United States, but also back home in the Philippines, where colorism is highly prominent I remember being back home back in 2016, walking in a mall, and I was told to buy bleach to bleach my skin because I can't match their foundation colors. The another part that's weaved in this poem is my experience here being Filipina, but being mistaken and kind of grouped into this amalgamation of Asian women being called chinita. Maitim na chinita. Itim na nunal, tilang tuldok sa mapa. Natinuka ng tikbalang walang layon, kundi diretsohin ang putol na linyang kinuskos ng manok, sabay bigkas ang kaitiman ng balat ko. Ikaw na uban ng tuko, galing sa kano, amoy marupok na parang matutunaw sa ilalim ng araw, ang may lakas ng loob isinggit sa akon. Hey, Chinese girl. Hey, monkey. You said with your car window rolled down from across the street. Maliit na badya. Maliit na salitang tipo maharot galing sa maliit na lintikang peste sang lupa na tinapakan ng kabayo at kinuha ang kanyang utak. Kahit putik, mas may alam. Alam ang hapdi ng salita na minamasdan ng puso, lulong sa kalagitnaan at kadiliman na nasa sulok ng sugat kung saan merong nakakaunawa. Na nagsasabing, huwag dibdibin ang pikit mata na kahit sa dila ng paka, hindi mo makikita. Na parang kung iyong sabihin, maitim na chinita. I think I have time for one more. This last one is in a language called Ilonggo. I probably would be one of the only people that write poems in this language, but I have several that I have loved growing up because this language has always been through oral stories, and so writing is fairly new in this language. This is a heartbreak poem called Drowning in Parched. Palihog, love, help me understand. You brought the rain slanted, leaving wet moss bed in my mouth. Please, love, ginkuha mo ang tanan. Kagdaguob sang akong irog, dauga nga suba. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Our next poet is Teresa Mei Chuc.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here to celebrate languages of the world. Thank you, Luivette. Thank you, Beyond Baroque, and thank you everyone that's here. I was born in Saigon, Vietnam. I was a boat refugee. I spent 3.5 months in a freight boat in the South China Sea before being rescued. And I grew up here in Tavangar, Tomba territory. So please forgive me if I stumble while I'm learning my mother tongue. Lingua me. Tôi viết tên tôi bằng tiếng Việt, chúc mi tuệ. Nu trong giấy khai sinh mà cha mẹ đặt cho tôi lúc chào tôi. Giáo sắc như một tia chớp dẻo. Giáo ngã bồng bềnh như sông luôn chân trời. Giáo mũ giống như một tình nữ chót vót và giáo nặng là giọt trăng rơi. Tôi chỉ thêm 4 cái giáo nhỏ thôi, như 4 viên nhục lung linh là tôi đã hoàn tất cuộc trở về với tiếng Việt của mẹ tôi. And I originally wrote this poem in English. It was translated by Din Van Tan. Accents. Today, I decided to write with brush and ink my name in Vietnamese, Chuc Mi Due, the one on my birth certificate, with all of its beautiful accents. Lightning above the U, ocean wave above the Y, mountaintop above, and reflection of moon below the E. Today, I made 4 small marks and took back my native language. In Vietnamese, the word for country is nuc, and that is also the word for water. Nuc. Nhưng nơi dòng nước chảy trôi, khi ta nhìn nước xung quanh, dòng sông hồ bể, biển xanh muôn nguồn. Như than ta nước mặc lùn, thuở sông hồ bể, muôn nguồn, biển xanh. Where the water flows. When looking at water around us, rivers, lakes, oceans, rain, remember water flows within us, the same water as rivers, lakes, oceans, rain. This next poem and my last poem actually is about my name. Nhưng cái tên. Thật mệt mỗi vì có năm cái tên phải đổi tên mỗi khi nhập cảnh. Một nước mới hay bắt đầu một cuộc sống mới. Cái tên đầu tiên với tôi là thực nhất. Nhưng tôi không dùng, cũng không ai gọi tôi bằng cái tên Việt ấy. Cho dù nó đủ khi trong giấy khai sinh. Tuệ mi chúc. Cái tên bập bùn dùng mũi tiếng, sợi dây gang. Ba mẹ nói tên tôi trong tiếng Việt. Trong tiếng Quảng Đông là Chúc Mỹ Huệ. Ba tiếng chim hót mềm và áo huệ là cái tên cha mẹ tôi thường gọi. Vừa tên Mỹ, tôi hóa thành Teresa Mei Chuc. Rồi Teresa Mei Chuc. Teresa là tiếng nước khi idol giữa tay. Sau đám cưới đầu, tên tôi là Teresa Chuc Prokopiev. Sau đám cưới thứ hai, tôi là Teresa Chuc Dao. Bây giờ, tôi trở lại là Teresa Mei Chuc. Nhưng tôi muốn trở về. Tôi lấy cái tên ngày nào tôi thường nhắn rồi nắng trúng mặt vì cô trở thành một ai phù hợp. Tuệ mi chúc là ai? Tôi không biết. Tôi chưa bây giờ thực sự là cô. Sinh nhật cô ngày 16 tháng 3. Tôi chưa từng kỷ niệm. Đó không phải là ngày sinh thật của tôi. Dù giấy khai sinh ghi vậy, thật ra tôi sinh ngày 26 tháng 9, nhưng tôi phải giả vờ rằng sinh ngày ấy bởi vì sau chiến tranh mẹ tôi làm giấy chấm hoặc vào tháng 12 còn ngày thay đổi hàng năm về theo âm lịch ngày hôm ấy. Cha mẹ tôi kỷ niệm vì đó mới là ngày sinh Trung Quốc của tôi. Những cái tên và những ngày sinh ấy làm cho tôi chóng mặt. Đôi khi tôi không thấy mình là Teresa nữa. Tuệ thì không nên nói quá dài dả một trái cây hoặc các yêu dùng nữa chính mình. Dù sao, tôi muốn là sợi dây cùng hưởng nụ chích cùng có mắn. Zoi lai bang mui den bang tang vao dim. Translated by Ngo Tula. Names. I am tired of having 5 different names, having to change them when I enter a new country or take on a new life. My first name is my truest, I suppose, but I never use it, and nobody calls me by this Vietnamese name, though it is on my birth certificate, Tue Mi Chuc. It makes the sound of a twang of a string pulled. My parents tell me my name in Cantonese is Juk Mei Wai. 3 soft bird chirps, and they call me Awai. Shortly after I moved to the US, I became Teresa Mei Chuc, then Teresa Mei Chuc. Teresa is the sound water makes when one is washing one's hands. After my first marriage, my name was Teresa Chuc Prokopiev. After my second marriage, my name was Teresa Chuc Dowell. Now I am back to Teresa Mei Chuc. But I want to go way back, reclaim that name once given and lost so quickly in its attempt to become someone that would fit in. Who is Dwe Mi Chuk? I don't really know. I was never really her, and her birthday on March 16, I never celebrate because it's not my real birthday, though it is on my birth certificate. My birthday is on January 26, really, but I have to pretend that it's on March 16 because my mother was late registering me after the war. Or it's in December, the date changing every year according to the lunar calendar. This is the one my parents celebrate because it's my Chinese birthday. All these names and birthdays make me dizzy. Sometimes I just don't feel like a Teresa anymore. Due isn't so embarrassing. A fruit learns to love its juice. Anyways, I'd like to be string, resonating, pulled back tensely like a bow, then reverberate and the arrows release straight for the heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. That was beautiful. Our next poet is Lisbeth Coiman.
Caramba, mi amor, caramba, lo bueno que hubiera sido si tanto como te quise, así me hubieras querido. Exhalamos en éxtasis y en esta comunión nos convertimos en un mito. El tambor hace que mis caderas ondulen al ritmo de la pasión y de los recuerdos de la tierra caliente de mi juventud. La parranda que honra al santo negro San Juan pasa de casa en casa en el casco central de Caucagua. Se presenta a cada familia de la calle principal. Las botellas de ron añejo pasan de mano en mano y de boca en boca, mientras las mujeres toman turno venerando al santo. Pronto la procesión llega a la plaza del... Nuestros ojos se encuentran. Tú luchas por tu espacio en Nabucco. Mi grupa suculenta gobierna mi cuerpo. Aspiramos la esencia fuerte del deseo. Me veo en tus pupilas, embriagada de la furia y embriagada de ti. Y en este cuarto no hay cultura. Todo pasa. Todo futuro.
eres Pegaso, yo soy la gran garza azul. Volamos uno junto al otro. El aire húmedo refresca nuestros cuerpos calientes. A barlovento, nos deslizamos sobre un bosque tropical donde algunos de mis ancestros llegaron con cadenas en los pies y otros con látigos en las manos. Planeamos sobre haciendas de café y cacao que no podemos ver porque están protegidas por la sombra prodigal de árboles antiguos. Volamos por encima de mujeres machacando maíz en un pilón de 2 manos y escuchamos tararear los versos picarescos de su canto de trabajo. Tío, tío, dale duro a ese pilón. Tío, tío, que se acabe de romper. Tío, tío, en el monte hay mucho palo y papá lo sabe hacer. Tío, yo no quiero hombre casado, porque huele a matadura. Yo lo quiero solterito, que huele a piña madura. Cruzamos las montañas de Zamorito y nos dirigimos al norte, a las ensenadas de la costa, donde observamos cuerpos desnudos, asoleándose en una playa turquesa sin advertir nuestra mirada curiosa. Cerca de allí, los vecinos de Toasana, Osma y Chuao bailan los ritmos africanos en la calle. Nos saludan como si se tratara de un hecho cotidiano. Ver a la gran garza azul y al Pegaso volando sobre su tierra de magia. El aroma del cacao recién cosechado, secándose al sol, perfuma el aire húmedo. Sotavento nos lleva al este y ahora estamos dentro de un cocotal en Machurucu, recibiendo los últimos rayos de luz. Descendemos para nadar en las aguas cálidas del Caribe. Más tarde, posamos nuestros cuerpos exhaustos en la playa y nos dormimos bajo un show estelar. Me despierto con un murmullo de sábanas y el aroma del café recién. Siento tu presencia a mi lado, me besas la frente.
Oh. All of it has been great so far. This is incredible. Oh my God. Like I'm smiling and I'm like, everyone's been amazing. All right. Next up, we have Peter J. Harris.
A love supreme searches through sorrow. Found poem, lines drawn from advertisements by formerly enslaved African Americans seeking reunion with their sold-off kin. Information wanted. I will be most thankful any person or persons knowing anything of importance, of my parents, of my father, of my sister, of our 5 children, of my daughter, sold to a man named, was left with a traitor named, a traitor then in human beings. was last heard of 13 years ago, some 20 odd years ago at Halifax Courthouse in 1851, human trader in that place. Any person or persons knowing anything of importance concerning the missing parties. I was owned by, my mother was owned by, I was sold, separated when I was 5 years old from Nashville, 15 miles below New Orleans. I earnestly request pastors will please read to their congregations from their pulpits. I earnestly request ministers of Christian churches will do a favor by announcing. I earnestly request different pastors, especially presiding over Southern churches, to read this notice. I now go by the name of, as the hand of time steals over me now so rapidly, I wish to see my dear ones once more. Any information will be thankfully received, gladly received by their sorrowing mother. Reach for it. Oh, I laugh and I joke, but I do not play. Serious as a heart attack that took out Ma and Daddy, daring to hula hoop while I hack the national myth. Whether discomfort of being schooled in languages emphasize the gaps in my American education. You speak Spanish. You speak Korean to a one-tongue city boy. You speak Arabic. You speak Armenian to a black and white proverb slinger whose last vowel was an asphalt drawl, rising and clicking like a con and skidding up against the slur of high school junkies and hard-working alcoholics, mouth amplified by determination to hold my wisdom in congruence with the lush reconstitution of a reason for living beyond incoherent hateration, daring to hone new reflexes, even smack in the middle of a legislated hissy fit. If I reach for it, wary of COINTELPRO body roll and echo of narrow cast black codes forbidding my pursuit of happiness, I will slog mud, blink away sand, wince in misunderstanding to unearth and flip over Rosetta Stone chiseled with the key to translating our hippest spell, describing our most supple strategy to knit gaps in our American trepidation. Inviting days, inviting nights of timeless deliberation, playful seriousness over documents, customs, lineage, guaranteeing rights to laugh, cry, grieve, criticize, health of a people measured in fearlessness of public testimony, value of their genius measured in work of public servants. If we reach for it, I on the prize of ending this one-note worship veiling history. We can fandango in the rejuvenation we have conjured. We can respect the accent of ashe we have learned to cast. Our last vow, mesmerizing as swoosh of double Dutch rope on asphalt, rhythmic as antidote to human violence must be if we are to rewire cultural synapses. Latitude by longitude, language by language. Our last vow, describing human courage as relentless as okay now. See, this is what happens when you get to be like in your 60s and you don't really give a fuck no more. So I'm gonna say to whoever's coming to the poetry reading and got their motherfucking phone on, that that's really bad. Not just because I'm reading, although I was right at the motherfucking peak of this shit. So it's really difficult to figure out where to go when the motherfucking energy gets bumped off. So what is the, Ms. Resto, what is the caption that we are pissed off at again? Yeah, so, and what did it read? It read something further though, didn't it?
It went in non-English.
Yes, speaking in non-English or speaking in interruption. So that's it.
The next poet is a fellow Boricua. I'm excited to hear him read. His name is Robert Americo Esnard.
Thank you so much for having me. I think I'm going to change the order of the poems. I hope that's okay, Joscelyne. I was really excited to join because I have a series of poems about translation in translation. And I think thematically they're appropriate because it is not enough to just know words. And it's not enough to omit them. Traducción 1. The memory is timeless and narcotic. A full sunset over the clear ocean. Me, a young boy in the sand. An island home. A cigar. Shifting hands. A plate crashing. An empty offering of forgiveness. A cumbersome language of sorrow without truth. Eyes full and flowing. A mirage. Nostalgia without history. A trumpet crying. Perseverance. A dream of joy, and my thirst for an antidote. Traducción 2. En una casa de isla hay un niño que está llorando. Él no tiene lenguaje, pero no es de la sed. No es de un plato estrellado ni algo en sus ojos. ¿Qué puedo ofrecerle yo mismo? ¿Un cigarro? ¿Trompeta? No, perdóname. Lo que él tiene es un dolor atemporal, que se mueve como arena en las manos fluyendo. Es engorroso, que no está claro qué es el sueño aparte del espejismo, qué es la memoria aparte de la nostalgia, qué es el antídoto aparte del narcótico, cuál es el ocaso y cuál el mar, cuál es la llanura y cuál la vacuidad, cuál es la alegría y cuál es la perseverancia. Traducción 3. The ocean, Is language flowing and crashing over me? My hands are myself, my history. The plate is forgiveness, whether empty or full, an offering. The trumpet is sorrow and perseverance and joy. The sand is my home shifting, timeless and without memory. Eyes are the truth, clear, however cumbersome. The cigar is narcotic and antidote. Thirst is nostalgia, as is the sunset. The island is a dream, is a mirage, is a young boy crying. The plate is an island, home. The hands are a language. The thirst is forgiveness, however cumbersome. Memory is narcotic perseverance. History is shifting sorrow and crashing joy, and the ocean is crying. My eyes are empty. The cigar is nostalgia, a mirage, a timeless self. The sand is a dream offering truth, the trumpet an antidote. The sunset is full and flowing clear over me. Traducción 4. Tengo un recuerdo de yo de niño en casa, pero está vacío. No es una verdad, sino una sed, ni una historia, ni un espejismo. Es la nostalgia del mar que fluye, del ocaso atemporal. Es un dolor que llora, un narcótico sin antídoto. Sueño de mí mismo con mis manos llenas, moviendo una trompeta engorrosa sobre un plato lleno y un cigarro, yo claramente estrellándome contra la arena. Pero tengo un lenguaje de perseverancia y alegría, así que me ofrezco el perdón. If I have time, I'll do this one last poem. La Vuelta a Guantanamera. South of the Sierra Cristal, beneath the cactus curtain, there is a McDonald's in the Guantanamo Bay Naval Base. In the States, my mother worked late-night shifts and ran up orders for her staff and her family, so at least tomorrow there would be dinner. There would be McDonald's. In the Guantanamo Bay Naval Base, there is also a gift shop. I cannot imagine what they sell. Dog collars, Cuban chains. I cannot see the store in my head. A glass prism, moldy carpet, drag of oily handprints, the feeble AC battling the humidity, a delusion. In this state, my mother worked late-night shifts and took orders to climb up. She fried her hair for a chance, cleaned the ketchup from her cuticles, and went smiling and sleepless and smelling of onion to every morning interview. Billions and billions following orders. Prisoners, soldiers, my mother, her staff, and her family. But at least tomorrow there will be dinner. At least if we are Americans, we can always go to McDonald's. In Guantanamo, instead of a play place, there is a hollow scaffolding like broken ribs, golden arches, and a blood-red sign that reads, "Billions and billions served, an honor bound to defend freedom."
Thank you, Robert. Our next poet is Jasmine Minchez.
Hi, everybody. I want to give a quick, my mom always tells me don't apologize, but there is no ASL interpretation for my poems, in part on a mistake of my error, but learning and all of that. Even though I'm like supposed to be good with technology, I'm not. But I just want to say I'm so grateful to be in this space, to be here in this spot speaking to you all. To Luivette, thank you so much for the extension of the invitation to speak. I think so often young writers are not given the opportunity to do so, and so I really thank you for the spotlight. And all of this has reminded me of this line from a poem titled "The Star-Spangled Banner" by Angelica Maria Aguilera that says, a mother tongue, an accent is just a mother tongue that refuses to let her child go." And your wonderful accents are just being sung. This first poem is all in English. I am cradled by two mother tongues, both English and Spanish, and in living in that sort of intersection, I find a lot of language also being expressed through my body. And this first poem is titled Body Language. I cannot explain the choreography, but I'll tell you to look out for the synchronicity of stoplights, the duet of bless yous, the nod between strangers, the prance as one holds the door open for you. A ripple of legs until you find your seat, the stage entrance after curtain calls, cashier number 2, please. At a stop sign, seconds extend their limbs, stretch far like Natalie Portman's mania, and you still let the Honda Civic pass. How would you describe the day if I asked what you dance to? If we are not bound by asphalt and the world is a grand ballroom, you'd retrace the footwork, recall the symphony of strings that played in what you assumed to be boring intermission. But it's all quite simple, isn't it? We are no longer children swinging with playground friends we just met. We became the audience of onlookers, the answers to questions of what will you be when you grow up. I am the pride and joy of patience. Each morning she sews me a new dress and I cannot wait to try it on. I am the ember of loneliness, a glowing reminder that it is there, but almost gone. I am the hope of adolescence. She thought of me every time she was asked, "What do you want to be?" Everything I already am. I am the dancer, the audience, the spotlight that finds me when the house lights go down, everything but the choreographer. Because I cannot explain the choreography, but I can tell you there are no coincidences. The trip over untied shoelaces, the quick step to the only seat left open, a glance at the boy doing homework in the coffee shop. And we'll know it when our eyes meet. Our bodies speak a language we do not comprehend. Loosely translated, it is saying something like, "May I have this dance?" Thank you. This second and my final poem, a wonderful coincidence happened, which I just explained is not a coincidence at all. But there is a reference in here, which is also the name of the organization that you run. So I'm super happy about that universe at play. And this is titled, in both English and Spanish, La cosecha de tierra mía. La origen de sangre es tierra fría. Aquí nunca hay hambre o sed. El pan se comparte entre hermanos, un grano cosechado de tierra mía. El café es abundante con olor de canela. Cada lengua es canción que no se canta. Pero te cuento de mi palabra más querida. Cielo. En decir la reflexión del océano, cada mañana se pintan las nubes con brocha de viento, o el cielo, la casa de un padre que parece tan lejos a vida terrenal, pero uno no tiene que estar cerca para saber dónde queda su hogar. Mi cielo, ternura, eres todo que no es de carne y hueso, mi presente y mi futuro eterno. When I'm asked what I know about my family back home, I stuttered through Abuelito's name. I haven't said it in months. I've forgotten the way it lives in my mouth, the way it caresses my tongue. I am a stranger to someone I know so well by proxy. Their son is my role model. Their iron runs in my bloodstream, but instead of family gatherings, I know culture through the backyard birthday party of an hermano who turns 53, and the beloved have been invited. And there must be at least 30 of us who drove here after this morning's service, made sure to bring umbrellas in case it rains, in case the clouds of aluminum foil threaten to become a chain link fence. I am surrounded by voices that drizzle like caramel, o acentos de cajeta, y el olor a café de olla. High-pitched voices are indistinguishable because las señoras sound just like their kids, and one of the boys calls the girl Valerie, and she explains how tired she is. Her voice sings soprano even when she says, dude, like, can you stop? Can you just freaking stop? And there is talk of the rain. Que bueno estas lluvias, ¿verdad? Que ya termine la sequía. Valerie, adorned in a black hoodie and violin string, thick black hair. There is symphony in everything. If you listen closely, a world of music. En este mundo no existe la traducción. Aunque hablemos lenguas distintas, ¿me entiendes? Y una necesidad para Google Translate. Tortillas pegan el comal. Tss, 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 tss. La hermana, mujer de la casa, es la conductora, volteando tortillas como una partitura musical. Quick movements accompany callous fingertips. She is playing with fire, but she does not break a sweat. Mi pasaporte no es americano. No hay chistes de no sabo, because you can understand my accent without me needing to seek forgiveness. En este mundo, mi mamá no disculpe su acento. The phrase, sorry for my English, is the only foreigner that sticks out. Yo sé que aquí o allá, este mundo sí es tierra fría, pero el amor a la cultura, familia y honor es cosechado de bella tierra mía. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jasmine. All right, our next poet is Allan Aquino. Allan Aquino. No, Obed.
Do that one first.
Yeah, we're going to do that first. Yeah, please. Okay, get ready for this. First of all, pardon me. First of all, many thanks to the Beyond Baroque community, to my fellow poets, and of course to our gracious, mighty host, Luivette. Thank you for having us here today. First, a little bit of context. The first poem that I'm going to read, as I take a step back, encouraging you to focus your attention, our interpreter here. This is a poem which I co-wrote 11 years ago in 2012. I co-wrote this poem with Ms. Zulay Maldonado, who at the time was an interpreter for the NCOD, the National Center on Deafness over at Cal State Northridge. Zulay was an interpreter for my classes, and we co-wrote this poem for National Poetry Month in 2012. In the words of Zulay, this is a collateral spoken word poem, co-written by her, which is intended to be performed with an American Sign Language interpreter. So while your ears and your oral attention will be focused on my voice, I encourage your visual attention. Focus upon the mighty Mona Jean, who will be interpreting for me today. It's a tremendous honor to finally join the stage with her.
We've been waiting many years to do this home. We were supposed to do it before the pandemic and everything shut down, so.
Right.
Sorry, Annie, we're out of her role.
The title of this poem is Ghost and the Dancer, 6 lessons. 1. As one of the most recognizable figures in pop culture history, Bruce Lee, the great Sifu, famously said, absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, use what is essential, use what is entirely your own. 2. When it comes to classy, your passport doesn't matter. Smart is beautiful, and it doesn't depend on books. The question is, how deeply can you see what's right in front of you? 3. I thought ASL interpreters spelled out every word and syllable. I assumed they ensured deaf students heard everything, that they were translators or walking subtitles. But oh, I was stupid and wrong. I know a lot, yet understand so little. I'm a professor, spoiled and privileged. I have no answers, just a mouthful of words, and I never know when I've done anything good. Ideas pass on like ghosts. I say lots of things to people who will lose most of what I've said, but if her dance proves true, they will never forget how we made them feel. 4, I first check the roster. I look around, steady as a security camera, counting the students who showed up. I've outlined my ideas on the board. I take a breath, but before I start, I make sure she's in the right place. Her arms need room. Time slows like a dream. I see the copper curve of her cheek, her hair like an elegant mane, her forward gaze. She is ready, and I find my confidence. Her fingers cast spells. Her performance sways, crashes like waves on shorelines. The heat of tango quickens her pace. Our students are fascinated, and she finds her inspiration. Our fingers cast spells. Our performance sways, crashes like waves on shorelines. The heat of tango quickens our pace. Our students are fascinated, and we find our inspiration. 5, there's more to the world than what we read about it. There are beautiful things we fail to see all around us. The answer is more obvious than we know. Kindness is wealth. Love is power. 6, like the great Sifu said, there are countless ways to live out loud. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless like water. When you pour water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You pour water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You pour it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can flow or it can crash. Be like water, my friend. Thank you, Mom. That felt so good. I just had to say that. I've been wanting to do this for years, so finally happy to connect with you tonight. Well, my second poem is a bilingual poem. I want to give a special shout out to my kababayan, Nikki, of course. Ganda naman ng tula mo ah. Nervyoso ko naman ngayon kasi, mas maganda naman ang Tagalog mo ah. My kababayan is much better at Filipino than I am, but I'm going to try. This poem is entitled Tatlong Handog sa Hulita, 3 postcards for Lola. I lost my grandmother 30 years ago in 1993. She was a native Tagalog speaker, and as it turned out, I very much followed in her footsteps. She was a poet and a teacher, which I ultimately became. And in her native language, I wrote this for her. And for those of you with keen ears, if you'll recall earlier, Filipino, not just Tagalog, but Filipino has a lot of Spanish vocabulary inflected in. So those with a keen ear for Spanish may hear some vocab words. But in addition to Spanish, a lot of our vocabulary comes from other languages as well, like Hokkien and Arabic and English, of course. But this is a Tagalog poem. The Tagalog verses are followed by English interpretation, so everyone should be able to understand. And I will be reciting the Tagalog verses first. So, Tatlong handog sa hulita, 3 postcards for Lola. Noong sa buhay, ikaw ay punong guro at makata, nanay ng nanay ko. Sa wakas, mga dekada mula nang umalis ka, nahanap kayo ulit kaya nahanap ang kululuwa ko, kabilang sa mga lihim sa pagitan ng linya ng maliwanag mong mukha. In life, you were a professor and poet, mother of my mother. At last, decades since your departure, I find you again, and thus I find my own soul among the secrets between the lines of your luminous face. Ang kamay mo, ang nakakahawak sa kamay ko, nakakaaliw. Ang araw ay nagsimula sa mga kwento at paglalakad sa parke. Ang mundo sa mata ko ay malawak at esmeralda. Ang mahal mo ay pagiging verde ng lahat. Ang damit ni Santo Jose binigay sa iyo sa panaginip, ang gulay sa hardin mo, ang mga 7-Up tabi ng aming tapsilog, ang mga kanta ng Tarlac palaging nasa iyong puso bilang napunta kami sa maraming mga maliniwanag na siyudad. Your hand holds mine warmly. Evanston days begin with stories and walks in the park. The world, to my child eyes, is vast and emerald. How you love the greenness of things. The finery St. Joseph in a dream bequeaths you, your vegetable garden, our 7-Up cans during lunchtime. The songs of Tarlac ever in your heart as we come upon many bright skylines. Sa kaunting salita, alam ko ang simoy ng hangin, ang daan nito, ang ritmo nito. Hindi ito'y taghoy o paglalakbay, kabilang sa lahat ng bagay na dapat gawin, ang buong mundo nararamdaman mas verde, mas simple, tuwing dumadaan ako narito. In so many words, I know the breeze, I know its way, I know its rhythm. This is neither a lamentation nor a travelogue. Amidst everything that I must carry on, the world feels greener and simpler every time I move through it. Thank you very much.
And now, for our final poet, Obed Silva.
Thank you. Brother Peter, in solidarity with you, I think you speak for all of us. My mother always said that for business, English, for romance, French, for God, Spanish. So these two poems are to my God, my grandmother, and my mother. La abuela eterna. Esa viejita conoció al mundo. Es más, ya lleva tiempo cargándonos en el lomo. Es pesado, pero para ella no hay descanso. Ella dice que el tiempo para descansar pronto llegará. Por mientras, la vida llama y el mundo necesita quien lo cargue. Sí, yo soy. Yo soy esa viejita que camina con el mundo en el lomo. Y también en los ojos cargo los secretos de la vida y en la boca las palabras que nunca tomarán forma. Y si te fijas en las palmas de mis manos, mirarás trabajo y sangre, dolor y sudor. Verás escrito un libro que nunca será leído en una escuela. Y si las tocas, habrás tocado manos que han sido puestas sobre muertos y recién nacidos. Habrás tocado manos pesadas, manos con magia en las puntas de sus dedos. Sí, así es. Magia porque han curado a heridos y a enfermos, porque han preparado frijoles y tortillas de harina y de maíz para los pobres, porque han servido platos de comida en aquellas noches cuando faltaba que comer. Sí, así es. Cargo magia en las puntas de mis dedos. Jesucristo lo sabía bien, pues fui yo quien lo enseñó a hacer los milagros. Lo conocí en casa de Magdalena. Él todavía no cargaba la cruz, ni yo el mundo. Fuimos amigos. Pero él murió y yo seguí. Le prometí no descansar mientras corra sangre de entre mis venas y no me falten los pies. Ay, esos pies. Descalzos han pisado tierras y escalado montañas, Un día sintieron el dolor de Cuauhtémoc, pero no se dieron por vencidos. El tesoro es mío. Ese lo cargo dentro del corazón. Poco a poco lo he ido repartiendo sin descansar. Ay, el descanso. No hablemos de él. Pues la vida llama y el pobre necesita de mi tesoro. Tengo que ser rápida. El universo es vasto, el tiempo es poco y los días existen en un grano de mostaza. La eternidad no cabe allí. Eso lo sé. Eso me lo dijo Jesucristo. Él colgaba de una cruz y yo pasaba con el mundo en el lomo. Al pasar, él me gritó y yo le devolví una sonrisa. Pues traía prisa y si la eternidad no cabía en un grano de mostaza, entonces tenía que buscarla por otros rumbos. Quizá Jesucristo sabía en dónde encontrarla y por eso nunca lloró, aunque triste murió. Pero la tristeza no la trajo la muerte, sino el hombre. El mismo hombre que mata a otro hombre, el mismo hombre que causa la pobreza, que causa el desarrollo de lágrimas, enojos infantiles, enojos de una madre. Me canso. El mundo es pesado y mi lomo ya no aguanta. Mis rodillas se doblan y mis pies se hunden en la tierra. Mi tesoro será enterrado. Mis secretos nunca serán palabras. Mis lágrimas le darán vida a un árbol y al mundo lo dejaré dando vueltas. En un grano de mostaza no cabe lo que son gigantes, no caben los que son eternos, no caben los que han cargado el mundo. El descanso, ay, el descanso. Viva México. Cabrones. That's for my grandma, because my grandma was a revolutionary. Let me tell you, villista hasta la muerte. And don't get villista twisted. He was more than a bandido. He was a luchador. Don't let them take your history. This one's from my mother, para mi madre. Cuando siento que el mundo se abre y se derrama de cariño y amor, dejándome hacia atrás, solo y seco, abandonado y completamente desgarrado, ahí, a lo cerca, al estiro de un brazo y al abrir de una mano, siempre me encuentro con el rostro tierno de mi madre. Tibia su piel, brillante su sonrisa y enamorados sus ojos de un hijo que no ha sabido vivir como Dios lo ha querido, es decir, conforme o con la paz de un alma tranquila. Y es así, y es esa su virtud desesperada, por querer vivir como un incendio incontrolable, cual siempre a empallones lo trae a los pies huesudos y blancos de la muerte. Una vida exagerada, un cuerpo roto y exigente, consumiendo como un oso y necio como un toro. Se mueve el hombre olvidándose de su madre, como llegó, como se irá. Sus manos fieles y creadoras construyen y derraman. Con pincel y golpes saluda al sol y con un grito profundo se despide de la luna y sus queridas estrellas. Y en sus sueños vive la gran felicidad de no sentir lo que sienten las almas sin rumbo. Es el escape perfecto, el olvido oscuro de la mente. Aquí no hay memoria, aquí no hay pasado, no hay presente, no hay futuro. Aquí solo hay lo que es, una imagen tras otro glorioso y transparente de aire y luz. Todo es uno, tal el dolor como el placer, tal el reír como el llorar. Aquí no existe el entendimiento ni la cordura, solo el ser como es, infinito y ligero, entre este punto y otro, al más allá, siempre al más allá. Me voy, me quiero encontrar, porque en él aquí solo hay lo que siempre ha sido. Y para el hombre inquieto, lo que siempre ha sido siempre es muerte, siempre es fin. No, me levanto a lo grande y me le enfrento al mundo sin pedir permiso, de pie, de corazón, de fuerza, de huevos. Soy lo que soy y nunca fui otra cosa y nunca quise ser otra cosa. Solo el hijo de mi madre y el hermano de mis hermanos y hermanas, el sobrino de mis tíos y tías, el nieto de mis abuelas y abuelos, primo, amigo, compa, colega, capitán y cabrón. Siempre más cabrón, porque en la cabronera encontré la verdad, desvestida y pura, sin juicio o rechazo. Esto es mi desgracia, la razón de tanto delirio, la razón de tanto destino destrozado, y la única que me entiende es mi madre. Now, if I may, I wasn't going to read this one, but I'm going to read it. Interpreter. I know I told you otherwise, but I think I got a couple minutes. So let me kill him. Because that's what I do. I kill time, son. This one is called Se consumieron dos extraños en el Citizen Hotel. Oh, was that you? Oh, let me tell you, huevo. It gets better, señor. Let me tell you. You're going to get up and do that rumba all over again. Here we go. Kids, cover your ears. Él era un hombre ridículo. No le importaba ser serio. Eso, él decía, era para los constipados. Él prefería tomar el mundo con una carcajada y contaba cuentos para entretenerse. Cuando la vio triste y sola, él la confrontó con una pluma y papel en la mano y le dijo: te quiero escribir un poema. Ella levantó la cabeza y lo recibió con unos ojos sonrientes. La tristeza se le había borrado. ¿Y de qué va a ser el poema? Ella le preguntó. De un hombre con hambre. Él le dijo con una cara estúpida, como la que tienen los niños perdidos. ¿De un hombre con hambre? Ella preguntó y después dijo, no entiendo. Pues mira, él siguió, en verte me recuerdas de las cosas más sabrosas en la vida. Y yo vivo para consumir lo sabroso. Y si me dejarías, me gustaría consumirte completamente. Ella, como nunca había experienciado un momento como el presente, nerviosa pero interesada, se tomó un momento para responderle y luego le dijo: hace tiempo no he sido consumida y creo me gustaría mucho. Él, siendo el hombre ridículo sin interés en los medios de la vida formal, puso su papel en la mesa y con su pluma escribía. Empezaría con el dedo gordo de tu pie izquierdo porque soy comunista. Te lo chuparía como una paleta de mango y chile. Luego te mordería la pierna como un elote de calle. Hasta llegar a tu panza, cual abriría como un tamal de res con crema blanca. Ese fue mi almuerzo. Tu cuello lo chuparía como un hueso de pollo y tu lengua como un ostión de mar. En fin, regresaría a lo más delicioso. Tu cueva de jardines florales como comería como un pastel de leche y poco a poquito, con mi pura lengua, la lambería, como lambí el pastel de mi primer y último cumpleaños. Y para la sed, que siempre sigue una panza llena y feliz del hombre, me tragaría tus senos como 2 caguamas de carta blanca. La caguama más fina de Chihuahua, México. El hombre, lleno y completamente feliz con su trabajo, le pasó el poema a su protagonista, quien lo tomó con una seriedad profunda, teniendo un poco de miedo de leer lo que el hombre había escrito. Pero letra por letra y palabra por palabra, ella lo consumió. En fin, los dos se consumieron. Fin. Thank you all very much. I got copies of my best-selling memoir, The Death of My Father, the Pope. I'm going to leave a couple in the front. You guys would like to purchase them. Thank you.
I got nothing. Okay. First, thank you to all the poets. That was amazing. The range, the themes, the topics. But before we head out, I do want to just remind you all that when outside in the refreshments area, there is a QR code for Cielo, the organization. So if you do scan it, please consider doing so and donating whatever you can to the organization. And like I said at the top of all this, we do have Odelia Romero, who's going to say a few words about the organization Cielo, which is a language justice-based organization here in Los Angeles. So Odelia Romero.
Padir, can you all repeat after me? Padir, Joshkrenle, Bajirenga, Shalarjo, Chupshundisha. What did I say? Right? Maybe. Well, I like to start with that exercise. That's Zapotec, that's my mother language. And you know, words are powerful. Poetry is powerful. One word could bring a tear to your eyes. One word could bring a joy. In our line of work at Cielo, one word is life or death. It's freedom or incarceration. The work that we do has to do with to end language violence against indigenous people, specifically of Mesoamerica. And as we are being displaced because our lands are being taken away by multinationals, you know, people are being pushed away. You know, there's always this narrative about, oh, they came here for the American dream. Well, no. We're being pushed out. Because indigenous people, we hold 80% of the world's natural resources, and we only make 10% of the population. Everybody wants our water, everybody wants our land, and when we get to the border, we get criminalized. Once we get released from the detention center, our children are put to work, as you all probably read the article of the New York Times. Most of those kids in that article are indigenous kids. But guess what? One word saves a kid. One word leads to their freedom, to their asylum. One word gets them advanced in a class. But the problem is, people don't know that there's millions and millions of different words in this country of the US. Or the city of LA. At Cielo, we work towards ending language violence, and we've identified 17 indigenous language families of Mesoamerica spoken here in LA. I know, right? And that's not counting all the other languages. I speak Zapotec. My partner, who is here, speaks Zapotec. But him and I could never have a conversation in Zapotec. I'm going to ask him to come up and say a few words in Zapotec, and you will notice the difference. Poncho, can you come up? I don't know what he said. And he's not going to tell us. Thank you, Poncho. So that's how diverse indigenous languages are. We're 2 hours away from each other back home, but we could never have a conversation in Zapotec, nor can we agree on what chili he cooks with. I don't like guajillo, he loves guajillo, you know? So it's more than the language. But I just want to thank you all because these words are very powerful. For every poet that stood here brought something, which is language. Language is a powerful tool of resistance, but also the state has used it as a way of oppressing the multiple languages that are spoken in this country, in this county, in this city. And we need to continue to resist. We need to continue to speak our Spanish, our Zapotec, our Tagalog, our Korean, our chingaderas, but we need to continue speaking our own language. You know, we need to continue to resist and not let the state continue to oppress our languages. So I want to thank you all. Please follow us on social media. Cielo, my underscore cielo. Follow us. We do have, I invite you all to continue following our work. We do have a literature conference in indigenous languages during the month of July. So please follow us so you know where to find us, and let's continue this resistance through words. Thank you so much, Joscelyne.
Thank you, Odelia. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This idea was sparked right after the Grammy performance, and I emailed Jimmy very angry. And I said, I need to do something. And he quickly said, okay, let's do this. But we got to be very fast. So thank you again to Beyond Baroque. Thank you so much for allowing me to express my anger in a poetic form, which is I think the most constructive way, at least for me. You know, I want to slash tires most of the time, but that's not always the most legal and productive way. But I really want to thank all the poets who said yes. Thank you so much. And to the interpreters, my God. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Please enjoy the refreshments. Please hit up the QR code. And if the poets can come up here for one last picture, that'd be great.
Dan,
Can I move?
I
am learning my mother.
I don't want to touch it.
We moved the mic. Oh, thank you.